Fellas?
It's him.
Do we proceed?
Yes.
He is still
Only human.
It's back to The Matrix and The Matrix Reloaded, one of the blockbusters we're going to revisit on this special show, which we're calling Summer Reloaded. I'm Roger Ebert.
And I'm Richard Roeper. We'll also take a look at Finding Nemo, Hulk, and other summer hits. But we start off with Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines.
You don't have to do this. You don't want to do this.
desire is irrelevant. I am a machine.
The original Terminator was a sci-fi classic, and it made a superstar out of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And T2 was that rare sequel that I thought actually bettered the original. Rise of the Machines isn't quite as thrilling as those two films, but it's still one of the best movies of the summer. Director James Cameron and stars Linda Hamilton and Edward Furlong are missing in action, so to speak, but Arnold is back in the saddle.
After the nuclear war, you both will leave.
Nuclear war? It doesn't have to be a war. We can stop it.
There's insufficient time. The first launch sequences will be initiated at 6:18 p.m.
What, today?
Affirmative.
It seems as if about half of Arnold's deadpan one-liners have comedic intent, and nearly all of them work.
Captain Brewster, have you sustained injury?
Drop it!
I'm unable to comply.
Arnold is once again in the protector's role, but he's technologically inferior to the icy blonde Terminatrix assassin played by Kristanna Loken. When the machines do rise up, they make for some pretty effective villains. Director Jonathan Mostow does a fine job, and he's obviously good at blowing things up, but he's a bit too fond of chase sequences, and he doesn't have Cameron's touch for dark menace. But the car chases and quips give way to a final act that's more intriguing than the conclusions of the first two films. And though I did miss Linda Hamilton, the casting of Nick Stahl and Claire Danes was a terrific move.
What?
Schwarzenegger, of course, is perfectly suited in the definitive role of his career. This is a worthy sequel.
Okay, well, what I liked about the early Terminator movies was the elegant way they played with the paradoxes of time travel. And you wonder how thinking machines ever developed in the first place if all the computer chips that were used to make them were destroyed in the nuclear devastation that took place before they were made. Terminator 3 has less of that intriguing stuff and a lot more routine special effects work with almost non-stop shootouts and explosions. I did like the way ungainly vehicles were used in the chase sequences instead of just fast cars. We see a hearse, a mobile crane, and a fire truck, for example.
I'll drive.
The characters spend a whole lot of time firing machine guns and missiles at the cyborgs and trying to blow them up real good, even though it's obvious that hardly anything can hurt them. I admired the special effects sequences, but I missed the cleverness and poignancy of the earlier movies. And the villain, the Terminatrix, played by Kristanna Loken, is all one note. I know cyborgs don't have emotions, and Robert Patrick's T-1000 in T2 was always poker face, but somehow his lack of emotion was more exciting than her lack of emotion. Terminator 3 is a well-made summer action picture and provides the kind of high-tech excitement that audiences are looking for, but the first two movies provided deeper feelings and more to think about, and so I'm right on the edge here, but my thumb is down.
Well, it sounds to me like you're taking points because it's not as good as the first two.
It's not.
Well, it's not, but those were great films, and this is a good film. I still think, from your review, it sounds to me like you're awfully close to recommending this. You're saying there's so many good elements, but then you're not going to recommend it.
Yeah, but I'm disappointed because the first two films were kind of coming off of the golden age of science fiction movies, and they had ideas, and they played with those ideas, and they intrigued us. And this one is just flat-out action. It's just not interested in the paradoxes, not interested in the ideas.
I don't think that's fair. I think, especially in the last act, the final act of this film, the last 30 minutes or so, it does have some ideas and does take us to a new dimension of this Terminator story and makes me want to even see more. And I think the addition of Nick Stahl and Claire Danes, who are both really solid, dramatic actors, makes up for the fact that maybe the Terminatrix isn't quite as interesting
I
this
have
time
no
around.
problem with those two actors, but on the other hand, I think the ending is kind of a letdown for people.
I disagree completely. I think it's a build-up. I think it's a wonderful way of ending the film.
Kinds of questions that I hope Terminator 4 is going to answer, but I don't frankly understand how it can answer them.
See, that says right there that Terminator 3 is intriguing because you're already thinking about
Well, let me
Terminator
ask you
4. You're
this.
saying it's setting up some wonderful premises that we'd like to see how they're explored. I think that's wonderful. I think that's great that it does that.
No, I don't want to see these premises explored. I want to have my confusion solved, which is an altogether different thing.
Well, let's see
In
if
any
that
event,
happens.
I just think this movie just didn't try as hard to be constantly stimulating and interesting and original and exciting. It just went for all the computerized special effects and all the chases and all the explosions. And I'm so tired of chases and explosions.
Okay.
First, we check to see that the coast is clear. We go out and back in. And then we go out and back in. And then one more time, out and back in. And sometimes, if you want to do it 4 times. All right, come on, boy.
An overprotective clownfish daddy preaches safety first to his son in Finding Nemo, the latest animated adventure from the computer geniuses at Pixar who created A Bug's Life and the Toy Story movies. Albert Brooks voices Marlin, and Alexander Gould is Little Nemo, who was captured by an Australian dentist who puts him in the tank in his office, where there are some brilliantly funny sequences, all seen from the aquarium's point of view.
The ocean! Ah! He hasn't been decontaminated yet. Jacques!
Oui.
Clean him!
Oui.
Ocean!
Ouh, la mer. Bon. Voilà, he is clean.
In the meantime, Marlin is on a death-defying quest to find Nemo.
I'm gonna get you.
Swim with you.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna be your best friend. Good feelings gone.
Finding Nemo has the obligatory in-jokes for grown-ups, but I think this is more of a pure children's film than Monsters Incorporated or Toy Story. The animation, I thought, was breathtaking, with hundreds of distinct creatures, from sharks to sea turtles to dolphins and a whale. And there's some really funny business involving pelicans, seagulls, and a scary 8-year-old girl with braces. Finding Nemo is terrific entertainment.
It sure is. And Albert Brooks is wonderful, too, as Nemo's dad, who is so neurotic on that chase. This movie is lovely to regard. The way that they evoke this undersea world and the different kinds of fish and their movement and the dangers that they encounter and the world they get into. And then when they get into that aquarium, and they have that weird plan for getting out of the aquarium, out of the dentist's office, across the highway and back into the ocean, because you think they can never escape from that aquarium. I was just sitting there enchanted. I think this is really one of the best animated films I've seen.
It's brilliantly done, and the details in every corner of the screen. You keep looking and going, look at that in the background, look at the movement there. It's all just beautifully woven together.
I loved it.
Coming up later in this special show, a mild-mannered scientist discovers it ain't easy being green.
And next, just in time for the 4th of July weekend, some big fireworks here on the set over Too Fast, Too Furious. Continuing this special show called Summer Reloaded, Richard and I had words over Too Fast, Too Furious.
You gone, homie. I got this. This is done.
This time there's no Vin Diesel engine powering the franchise, but Paul Walker returns as Brian O'Connor, now a disgraced former LAPD cop after letting Diesel's character go free. And just like in the Fast and the Furious and Biker Boys, miles of city blocks are deserted at night except for those speed demons.
Ready. Go!
Singer-actor Tyrese plays Brian's childhood friend turned rival, Roman.
Oh, yeah. You think you're the bomb room?
These guys never seem to care that dozens of innocent drivers might be maimed or killed while they're going 150 miles per hour on the highways. Too Fast, Too Furious is the loudest movie of the year, but when the cars can literally fly, there's no sense of real jeopardy. Director John Singleton once promised greatness with Boys in the Hood. Here he's going through the paces with a story that was old by the second season of Miami Vice.
Well, this is not one of John Singleton's great films, but I'm recommending it because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
What did you enjoy?
I love the kinetic action. I love the fact that the movie doesn't have a brain in its head, that it's all about action, that it's all about chase sequences, that it's all about cars, and that these people play their roles absolutely to the hilt.
Then I'm going to get you 2 tickets for a NASCAR race. If that's all you want from this movie, is to see cars going
summer
really
action
fast.
picture, and also Tyrese and Eva Mendes are really pretty good. Tyrese in particular has a high energy level that really works, and he carries this movie. He was good also in Singleton's Baby Boy.
Yeah, he's a good actor. He's got potential. But, Roger, I want more than these car chases. We know that the stuntmen can do these great scenes. So what? So what? We saw that in the first movie. You got to have something more than this tired old thought about the drug kingpin and going undercover.
The very preposterousness of all of the street scenes is what I enjoy.
Coming up later on this special show, Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus make new discoveries and take on new foes in The Matrix Reloaded.
And next, we discuss what makes Hulk more than just an action picture.
I don't think you're gonna like me when I'm angry.
How would you like the power to change from this to this? Join the thousands of men and women who are changing their bodies and lives with our best-selling videos hosted by fitness celebrity John Bastow.
Fitness Made Simple gives you the power to...
Free window plus free installation. Upgrade the value of your home and save on energy bills, too. Universal Windows. Call 1-800-275-8490.
On this holiday weekend, we're looking back at the biggest hits of the summer so far in a show we're calling Summer Reloaded. A scientist is transformed into the raging monster known as the Hulk. We'll have expanded coverage of this summer action thriller, one of 6 new films on this week's show. I'm Richard Roeper.
And I'm Roger Ebert. The Hulk is the latest of the Marvel superheroes after Spider-Man, the X-Men, and Daredevil to get his own movie showcase. And Ang Lee's treatment focuses more on the human story and less on special effects. This is one of the talkier and more introspective of the superhero movies. Eric Bana stars as Bruce Banner, the scientist who doesn't realize he's continuing his father's work in genetic mutation. Long-lost dad Nick Nolte reappears after 30 years and reveals the family secret.
Get out. Bruce.
Get out!
We're gonna have to watch that temper of yours.
Josh Lucas plays Talbot, the greedy entrepreneur who wants to extract Banner's DNA to make millions, creating soldiers who can heal their own wounds. Director Ang Lee uses an innovative visual technique of moving frames within a dynamic split screen to suggest the storytelling style of the comic book as military choppers transport the Hulk to a desert base. The Hulk may be a little too thoughtful and a little too character-driven to please its basic teenage action audience, but I like that about the movie. Sam Elliott is especially effective as General Ross, balancing perfectly just this side of overacting, and Jennifer Connelly avoids the usual cliches of the woman in a superhero movie. The weak point in the film is the Hulk himself, who is created by underwhelming special effects that make him look like a jolly green giant jumping jack. Until the silly effects take over in the closing action scenes, though, this is a surprisingly effective movie. Thumbs up.
And I'm giving it a strong thumbs up. This is a superhero movie that really captures the essence of comic book pop art. Now, I thought the fusion of live actors and CG effects was mostly impressive. Curiously, though, Hulk looks more realistic in close-up and in daylight than he does in the distance or the dark. I thought a lot of the CG work was cutting edge, but like Spider-Man and Daredevil and just about any other movie superhero who flies around, Hulk sometimes moves with jerky, feathery motions that don't feel true. But this isn't a movie about a giant green man destroying things. It's a story about adult children uncovering repressed memories, facing demons, and reconnecting with their fathers in the most unusual ways. I did like it a lot.
I did too. You know, what's interesting about the Jennifer Connelly character is she's really playing the same role she played in A Beautiful Mind, and it's the same movie. Brilliant scientist, Sweetest guy in the world. Sometimes he goes all goofy and he thinks the military is after him.
Wow, that's a fantastic point. I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're right.
And she, once again, is loyal to him, and she sees what the situation is. She tries a little tough love, and that's a mistake.
Yeah. Well, you know, all of the actors in this film, a lot of the times, obviously, they're playing up against a screen or, you know, somebody saying, here's where the Hulk's going to be, and they all do a really nice job of playing it straight.
Nick Nolte, he's very good in the film. So is Sam Elliott, who does, you talked about the pop art aspect of this film, like a comic book. And I like the way they shoot him kind of at an oblique angle as he kind of bares his teeth, and he's so fierce, and that mustache bristles, and a little bit too much, and it would be over the top, but he's just right there with that strong comic book presence that really works.
I think the tone of this is right, although I would agree with you. I mean, they still have a long way to go with the computer effects. There's no moment where we go, okay, they look exactly as if they're interacting with the Hulk, and especially when he's bounding around, it just looks like something on a video game.
Yeah, the fight with the dogs was...
I like the fight with the dogs.
Okay.
Nobody makes an entrance quite like Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity in The Matrix Reloaded, the highly anticipated sequel to the 1999 cyberspace epic that has become this generation's Star Wars. Reloaded begins with Lawrence Fishburne's Morpheus and crew returning to Zion, the last city on Earth, or should I say in Earth, populated by free-thinking humans.
Tonight, let us make them remember. This is Zion, and we are not afraid!
But the action picks up when Neo, played by Keanu Reeves, faces off against his old nemesis, Agent Smith, played by Hugo Weaving, who's the elf leader as well in Lord of the Rings. On a quest to find the ultimate source of the Matrix, Neo and company enlist the help of the Keymaker, played by Randall Duck Kim. But The Matrix Reloaded is much more than a first-rate action epic. We get these biblical references and philosophical in-jokes, deep debates about the nature of reality, and some intriguing sensuality. We also get a slew of interesting new characters, from those white-on-white twins to the exotic Monica Bellucci, and you get the spunky Jada Pinkett Smith. There's a lot going on here. The Matrix is a historically innovative franchise, and Reloaded is my favorite movie so far this year.
For me, The Matrix Reloaded develops the Matrix myth or legend so that I actually now enjoy the first film more because I understand it better in retrospect. For the first time, we see the underground city of Zion. The special effects here are interesting. Instead of being crisp and detailed like animation, they have a certain murkiness that actually adds to the illusion. The movie is heavier on words than most special effects extravaganzas. A lot of the philosophy is just psychobabble crossed with zen and geek speak, but the rest of the dialogue has a kind of elegance.
Good. The Oracle has many enemies. I had to be sure. Of what? That you are the one. Could have just asked.
The Matrix Reloaded doesn't say anything really very profound. The idea that the world is an illusion was old news when Plato said it, and even in science fiction it's old news, where Arthur Clarke's The City and the Stars got there first. But Reloaded is terrific at crossing those ancient ideas with cyberspace. The movie's weakness is that machines don't make very interesting villains, and their quasi-human agents, like Smith, are robotic clones. But we do get Merovingian, Persephone, and the intriguing character known as the Architect, who may be human, or on the other hand, they may be avatars. Who knows for sure? They're certainly individuals and help the trilogy gain depth and intrigue.
We don't know what we're seeing. Is it real, or is it part of the Matrix? And a lot of the, I think even the computer creations don't even know sometimes if they're programs or not. So there's a lot of stuff, and it's a great-looking film. The performances are really strong. We're in that rare territory, too, where the sequel, I think, is actually a triumph over the original, as good as that was.
Yes, it is. Coming up next, the best movies in theaters right now that are not blockbusters.
Next week, we'll be back with reviews of some new big summer movies, including Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one. New Tylenol 8-Hour. It has 2 layers, one that's fast and one that lasts all day. For one simple reason.
Fabrics. New Bounce Summer Orchard.
Having trouble finding movies that aren't blockbusters? Check out our website, ebertandroeper.tv, to find out where they're playing. That's it for the Summer Reloaded, our special show. Remember, you can hear all our recent reviews at ebertandroeper.tv or at movies.com, and read us in print at suntimes.com.
Next week, the summer season resumes, and we'll have a review of Sean Connery in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And until then, the balcony is closed.
With all these blockbusters of the week, the one that seems to kind of be hanging in there is Finding Nemo.
Yeah, Finding Nemo is the film that has a lot of legs, or should I say fins. You know, it's a family film, but it's also the kind of movie that I think people are going to see it twice. They're taking the kids. They're waiting for the kids to come out of school.